The hotel industry's dirty little secret recently got a little less secret, or a little less dirty. I'm not really sure what the right expression would be for what we're talking about, so let me just fill you in. Last year on Lighthouse Quick Takes, we did a deep dive into resort fees in the US, and we used data from January 2025. And we did this because we knew there was major legislation that would go into effect in May 2025, essentially making it mandatory for hotels to disclose upfront any and all junk fees. So essentially making it illegal for hotels to tell you right when you arrive at the hotel that they'll be charging you a hefty resort fee. These fees would need to be disclosed upfront so you're not blindsided upon your arrival. So now with these transparency rules in effect, as promised, we are revisiting the data to see what, if anything, changed in terms of the state of resort fees in the US. First, let's check on the overall prevalence of resort fees. The vast majority of hotels in the US, 91.5% to be exact, still don't charge a resort fee. That's up marginally from 91.4% when we looked at this last year. It's a marginal increase, but it does perhaps suggest that some hotels opted to scrap resort fees altogether rather than deal with potential customer friction now that the total price has to be shown up front. It's also worth noting that when hotels do charge a resort fee, 87% do so on a per night basis, which is the exact same percentage that the data showed last year. Now let's take a look at things from a state level. Hawaii remains the undisputed champion of resort fees, with 66% of its hotels charging a fee, followed by Nevada at a distant second place with 32%. Not only is Hawaii still the clear leader, but they also experienced the largest year-over-year increase since we looked at the January 2025 data, with the 66% representing an increase of nearly 2 percentage points from 64.1% a year ago. Let's switch gears now and look at specific destinations. Right now on your screen, you're looking at the data from a year ago before the regulations were put into effect. And you're looking at the top 10 destinations in the US in terms of percentage of hotels charging resort fees. And now, with the touch of a button, I'm going to show you how those numbers shifted a year later. And we definitely see some fascinating shifts. And thanks to the wonders of color coding, anywhere you see a green arrow, that means the number increased since a year ago. Red arrows signify a decrease, and a gray arrow means the data was unchanged. So let's break this down. In terms of the prevalence of resort fees, 6 of our top 10 cities saw an increase in hotels charging fees. Clearwater Beach, Florida shows the highest jump, going from 58.3% up to 71.4%, a massive 13.1 percentage point increase in just 12 months. In terms of what's driving this, I'm thinking this spike may be stemming from the region's record-breaking tourism growth in 2025 and also major infrastructure upgrades, both of which are likely giving hotels the confidence to lean into these fees. When we look at the dollar amounts of the fees, the pattern changes a bit. 5 destinations decreased the average fee, while 4 experienced increases. The most notable drop occurred in Maui, where the average fee fell from $94 to $77, an 18% reduction. This is likely a strategic move to restore visitor confidence following the devastating wildfires in the summer of 2023, which tragically burned over 17,000 acres across Maui. My guess is that these fees were pulled down a bit to help induce demand to the area and attract visitors with lower costs. But to be clear, even at $77, these are still very high. So what is the takeaway from all this? First and foremost, the FTC ruling didn't kill the resort fee, it just forced it into the light. For hoteliers, my advice is simple. Transparency is now the baseline. So value is going to be a key differentiator for hoteliers moving forward. If you're going to charge a resort fee, make sure guests immediately understand why you are charging it. They need to feel that they are getting value because of it. Your fees are now a visible part of your brand value. If your resort fees feel like a penalty rather than a perk, some of your guests may very well find somewhere else to stay that is either charging a lower fee or no fee at all, or a place that is charging a comparable fee but is doing a better job at demonstrating to those travelers why paying the resort fee is worthwhile to them by demonstrating value. Thank you so much for joining us today for our resort fee update. My name is Blake Reiter, and we will see you next time on Lighthouse Quick Takes.